So the fight that's been 10 years in the making, Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, is finally happening this Saturday, tomorrow. Tomorrow, around 6:30 Eastern Time, they're finally going to settle the score. Now, a lot of people were worried that Kell Brook was not going to make weight or deliberately miss weight so he can have an advantage over Amir Khan. But the guy came in at 148.5. And as I suspected the whole time, if he had to come in at 147, he could have made 147. Because he just fought Crawford at 147. Amir Khan came in at 147.5, also could make 147 fairly comfortably. They both looked like they were the same size. I doubt that's going to look the same tomorrow night. Kell Brook will have a size advantage. I don't expect Amir Khan to come in much heavier than 157. I do expect Kell Brook to come in at the full rehydration limit of 163.5. Now, we just spoke about their weights. Height difference. It says that Kell Brook is 5'9", and Amir Khan is 5'8". To me, it seems like Amir Khan has a slight height advantage. And I've never believed that Kell Brook was 5'9". I've always thought he was closer to 5'7" than he was 5'9". And Amir Khan does have a 2-inch reach advantage. Now, the speed advantage is obviously with Amir Khan. Kell Brook, he has timing going for him. He's always been able to time his opponents. Even recently when he fought Mark DeLuca, just like how he got stopped by a jab, he knocked out Mark DeLuca with a jab, funny enough. Same punch that stopped him, he stopped the guy right prior to it. Amir Khan has not looked as elite as Kell Brook for a minute now. Maybe back in 2018 when he stopped Phil Greco in a round. That was the last time he looked elite. I won't even say Kell Brook looks elite, but he's looked a bit better. He looked a bit better against Terence Crawford. Was winning the first 3 rounds. And he looked decent enough against Mark DeLuca. As I said, knocked him out with a jab, which was highly impressive. Against Terence Crawford, he won the first 2 rounds. In round 3, when Terence Crawford switched to southpaw, it seemed like Kell Brook had no idea what was going on. And it made me think, did you not prep to fight a southpaw? Because we all know that Crawford does go southpaw. But still, nevertheless, he got stopped 4 rounds. Amir Khan got stopped in 6 rounds. So, hey, that's bragging rights for Amir Khan. He went 2 more rounds with Crawford. Now, Amir Khan is being trained by the Crawford camp. Bomac and Terence Crawford are training Amir Khan for this fight, which is interesting. I don't know why he went with Bomac. He obviously does not have the same skill set that Crawford has. I would have went with Virgil Hunter, to be honest, because I think that the best version of Khan obviously was like pre-Danny Garcia knockout, but still, Virgil Hunter was training him good, and they had a good relationship. I don't think Freddie Roach could help him now. Freddie Roach, very offensive-minded. I think Virgil Hunter knew how to keep him under control, but I'm not really sure how the relationship is right now. It might be strained. I have no idea. So, this fight, if it happened in 2014, 2015, let's say it happened in like July 2015, Amir Khan coming off beating Sean Porter and Jojo Dan. Kell Brook coming off beating Sean Porter and Jojo Dan. Amir Khan coming off beating Luis Collazo and Devin Alexander, both looking very elite. What would have happened? I would think Kell Brook would have won that fight had they fought in 2015. Because Kell Brook's timing would have caught up to Khan, and Kell Brook could take a punch at that time. Because he took several punches from both Spence and Golovkin and didn't get dropped from the punches. He got dropped for more of the pain, if you know what I mean. So that was one thing. And we've seen Khan get dropped by guys who don't punch that hard. So I think the timing would have got to Khan eventually. Whether it was in round 1, whether it would have been in round 11. I don't see Brook winning early, though. It's anywhere between round 6 and 12. But Khan could win a decision. I'm not saying he couldn't. But I would have chose Brook to win that fight. He would have got him between round 6 and 12. At this point, I think early it's going to favor Khan. In my opinion, because Khan is a very quick starter. Very quick. And Brook cannot take a punch at all anymore. Any punch to the face will probably stop Brook. Any punch to like the cheekbone area was going to stop Brook. We know this now. Brook probably knows this. Brook is going to want to try to survive as much as possible in the first 3 rounds. Because Amir Khan, looking at their training footage, Amir Khan has not lost his speed whatsoever. He's still as fast as ever. It was highly impressive. It seems like I forgot Amir Khan's speed, how fast he was. This guy's throwing extremely fast power punches, combinations that have power behind them. Like even me when I box and I'm trying to throw fast punches, it's kind of like more like the Joe Calzaghe style, like slapping punches, if you know what I mean. I've never been able to do it that way with like Amir Khan, like very hard punches at that high speed. Very impressive from Amir Khan. He still has that speed about him. Kell Brook also still has a skill, still seems to throw fast, powerful combos. Obviously not at the speed of Khan. And Kell Brook, yeah, he's a quick starter. But we haven't seen him start quick in a while now. Against Terence Crawford, it wasn't really that he was a quick starter, in my opinion. It was more that Crawford just was studying him. Crawford was taking in the data, as they like to say. And right when he switched to southpaw, the fight was over. That's it. He was trying to gauge distance, gauge what he had to do, and the fight was over. That's it. Could Amir Khan do the same thing? I think Amir Khan could possibly win this fight in the first round. But the longer it goes, Amir Khan's speed is going to drop inch by inch. And then Kell Brook will be way easier for Kell Brook to get to him. I think Kell Brook made 148.5 healthy. I don't think he looks drained to me. And rehydration limit of 165, or is it 163.5, isn't the worst in the world. In my opinion. So I think Kell Brook has a good chance. I think he's healthy. And I think if he can survive those early rounds, he got Khan. But the question is, can his cheekbones survive those first few rounds? I have no clue. I don't know. Even though my brain tells me Brook, I'm having... Well, at least I was having a feeling that Khan would win. But watching the weigh-in, I don't know. I just something tells me Kell Brook is going to win. Throughout the entire build-up, I thought Khan was going to win. But today, watching the weigh-in, my gut told me Kell Brook. So that's my official prediction. Kell Brook is going to win this fight. I'm going to be rooting for Amir Khan. Kell Brook is fucking disgusting. Especially what him and his trainer did. His trainer drank Kell Brook's sweat. That was fucking disgusting. So I'm going to be rooting against him, even though I used to be a huge Kell Brook fan. But just because I'm rooting against him does not mean I'm not going to say what I think is going to happen. I always try to be unbiased. And I think Kell Brook is going to win this fight. That's what my gut feeling is. And with this fight, it's more about your gut feeling, really. There's no scientific proof that you can expect anything to happen. Because both fighters can't take a punch at this point of their career. I think that Amir Khan has problems with his chin. Kell Brook is his entire face, which is even more dangerous. And I think Amir Khan, if he lands a good combo, the fight will be over. But I don't know. I just have this feeling today. I woke up. My gut tells me Brook is going to win this fight. And he's going to get that career-defining performance that he's always wanted. He's going to finally defeat his arch nemesis. That's what the feeling gets for me. Because Kell Brook does hate Amir Khan. You can tell it. I don't think Amir Khan hates Kell Brook. Kell Brook despises Amir Khan. he feels like Amir Khan ruined his career because he was chasing Amir Khan throughout. But I don't think Amir Khan ruined his career. I think Kell Brook ruined his own career. Prior to fighting Gennady Golovkin, he was in serious conversation to fight Jesse Vargas. Kell Brook, I'm talking about. It would have been a unification match between the IBF and WBO. The money that was offered, I believe, was $900,000. What was offered to Kell Brook, that was the max he could make. And Kell Brook went for the Golovkin fight that paid him $5 million. He chose money over legacy. People are gonna be like, "What? What are you talking about? Golovkin is a much more legacy fight for Brook." Well, yeah, that's if he had a chance to win. He knew he was gonna win. Who thought Brook would win that fight? Not one prediction, not one credible person thought Brook would win that fight. Even Brook himself did not think he would win that fight. But Jesse Vargas, I think I would struggle to find any unbiased person to pick Jesse Vargas to beat Brook. Maybe even Brook could have stopped Jesse Vargas, and that would have raised his profile even higher. He would have been 2 world champions. He would have been a unified welterweight champion. It would have cemented his place as the #1 welterweight, and it would have put lots of pressure. After Keith Thurman unified with Danny Garcia, he would have had to fight him. And if he did not break his orbital bone, I think he would have even had a better chance against Errol Spence Jr. Or even if you want to duck Errol Spence, you would have had a more credible way because you're already a unified champion. You can be like, we're looking to make the Amir Khan fight, use that excuse, and vacate the IBF. There were so many ways that he could have had a much better career. He could have been still to this point a world-class fighter if he just didn't go for the money. He cashed himself out when he was at the middle of his prime. So Kell Brook, if he does believe that Amir Khan ruined his legacy, I think he needs to take a serious look in the mirror and be like, you know what? That guy that I'm looking at is the one that ruined my legacy. No one ruined my legacy other than myself. That's what Kell Brook needs to understand. No one ruined his career. He ruined his career. Amir Khan took the legacy fights before he cashed himself out against Canelo. Had fought in Zab Judah, had fought in Paulo Malignaggi, had fought in Kalanick, had fought in Marcos Maidana, and beat them all. Did get robbed against Lamont Peterson, did fight Danny Garcia, did beat a Devin Alexander, did beat a Luis Collazo. He won every round against Alexander and Collazo in the same year. Did beat Chris Algieri. He had lots of notable wins on his resume before he cashed himself out against Canelo. You beat Sean Porter and then Joe Jordan. Then you cash yourself out against Gennady Golovkin. There's a big difference. He knew he was never going to beat Gennady Golovkin. Amir Khan had a way better chance against Canelo. Brook maybe won a round, maybe won like 40 seconds of that fight against Golovkin, where Amir Khan, lots of people had him up 4-1 against Canelo. So, like, skill-wise, he could beat Canelo, where Brook couldn't beat Golovkin no matter what happened. Now that's my thoughts. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. And I know this fight is at least 7 years too late, but I'm extremely excited for this fight. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Sadiq Boxing out.